Welcome to Nerd News. I'm your host Tyler, and my voice is still gone. A ton of news to talk about today, so let's get into it. A lot of movie news today, and a lot of movie news around the property Star Wars. In what is quite possibly the biggest news story of the day, the creators of Game of Thrones, D.B. Weiss and David Benioff, have been announced to direct a new set of Star Wars films. Now, this is different from the trilogy that was announced that Rian Johnson was going to direct. And it's also different from the episodic saga of the Skywalkers. So really, we have no idea what the series is going to be about, but we do know the quality of the series because these guys have been bringing quality programming to the TV space. Kathleen Kennedy, the president of Lucasfilms, which is of course owned by Disney, said this about these two. David and Dan are some of the best storytellers working today. Their command of complex characters, depth of story, and richness of mythology will break new ground and boldly push Star Wars in ways I find incredibly exciting. They also issued a statement basically saying exactly what you would think, which is, this is a dream job. They said, in the summer of 1977, we traveled to a galaxy far, far away, and we've been dreaming of it ever since. We are honored by the opportunity and a little terrified of the responsibility, and so excited to get started as soon as the final season of Game of Thrones is complete. I really think that they hit it on the head when they said that it's a terrifying responsibility because, as The Last Jedi has proven, the Star Wars fans are very specific about what they want. No doubt they're going to bring the high-quality cinematics that we've already seen in Game of Thrones. So if you're a fan of Game of Thrones, how do you feel about this? Speaking of Rian Johnson, Star Wars, and The Last Jedi, The Last Jedi just won maybe not the most prestigious award, but definitely my favorite award probably ever. The AARP, yeah, that's right, the AARP gave Star Wars The Last Jedi the award for Best Movie for Grown-Ups. Did you know that the AARP gave out awards for movies? They gave the Best Movie for Grown-Ups to Star Wars, so that's something to hang your hat on, Rian Johnson. Do you agree with the AARP? Do you know what the AARP is? Do you know what being a grown-up means? I clearly don't. And okay, while we're on the Star Wars topic, we gotta stop and talk about the actual plot hole that's come up because of Solo, a Star Wars film. That's right, there's already problems. Users on the internet, super sleuths, if you will, they noticed that in the trailer for Solo, the Millennium Falcon has blue paint on it, which makes sense, right? The point of it is that it was a younger, fancier looking ship then before Han totally took it and just wrecked it all up. But if you actually remember back to Revenge of the Sith, I know like 90% of you are trying to forget those prequel films. But remember back to Revenge of the Sith, there was a small cameo that showed the Millennium Falcon flying in. Obviously it was under previous ownership, but when it flew in, it did not have that blue paint. It's already ruining Star Wars canon. I'm just kidding with you, calm down. But really though, there are going to be people who are mad about that. Personally, I don't care. I can headcanon that away by saying like, I don't know, maybe in between owners it got painted or something. But I can tell you, there are going to be fans out there who demand that Ron Howard, the director of Solo, explain himself and explain why the Millennium Falcon looks the way it does. So do you even care about that? Does that bother you at all? Is that something you're going to think about before you go to bed tonight? Probably is now because I brought it up. You're welcome, America. Gotham by Gaslight came out today. It is the new animated Batman film set in the steampunk era. Now, before you get too excited or too upset, let me go ahead and say it's not getting good reviews. If you want to catch out the trailer, I'll drop it in the comments below. But I'm going to let you guys know, don't worry, I'm going to pick it up this weekend, watch it, and I'll report back on how I felt like it went. And speaking of comic book on screen, what an interesting segue. It's almost like that was scripted. The best show on television, bar none. If you disagree, you're wrong.
You are a smelly pirate hooker.
Legion just announced its season 2 start date. If you watched Legion, you know it was incredibly groundbreaking. I mean, they did things in that show that I never thought I would see in a comic book show or honestly any type of a show. Noah Hawley, the creator, did an amazing job of world building and executive producing. And what could be said about Dan Stevens? I mean, he is a beast. That season 2 air date is April 3rd at 10 p.m. on FX. And gosh, I gotta be honest, we got a lot of comic book adaptations on screen to talk about today because Black Panther reviews are coming in and they are phenomenal. As of recording this right now, it is at 100% on Rotten Tomatoes and it's sitting at a solid 87 on Metacritic. Now, I know what you're thinking. Oh, it's Marvel. Oh, they always get good reviews. Oh, I'm crazy. Oh, Tyler's the best host of all time. Oh, well, you're right about all of those things. And Black Panther looks to be right in stride with the other Marvel movies. A lot of praise coming out of the gate, and I can't wait. And speaking of Black Panther, I want to do a follow-up story on something that we touched on last week. Last week we mentioned that there were DC fans who were trying to tank the Rotten Tomatoes score. Spoiler alert, it didn't work. In an age where the rivalry between DC and Marvel keeps getting more and more out of hand and fans keep forgetting that we are all fans of the same medium, one DC fan in Brooklyn decided to do something nice for a change. Frederick Joseph launched an initiative on Twitter and other social media platforms called the hashtag Black Panther Challenge, where they issued a challenge to DC fans and all fans alike to band together and help raise money to send underprivileged kids to see Black Panther. As of recording this video, they have raised over $100,000. Pretty sure that's going to be enough to buy some tickets. You know, it's times like these that when you see something super generous like that, it really warms your heart because you remember, man, there are some good, kind, considerate fans on the other side of the aisle. And in that same vein, actress Octavia Spencer announced she's going to be renting out an entire theater in Mississippi to send underprivileged kids to see the movie. I just think that's so cool. Like, what a great monumental movie Black Panther is going to be. And I really love a lot of these positive stories that are spinning out because of the movie's release. And well, we got a new Deadpool 2 poster, and it is everything that you have come to expect from Ryan Reynolds and his incredible marketing team. They have put together a poster of Deadpool Flashdance style. He tweeted this picture and said, "Take your passion, make it happen." I love it. I love the marketing around the first film. Are you guys excited about the marketing for the second film? I hope that he does what he did in the first film, which was bring the Deadpool costume home and just get out his phone and record a bunch of stuff. And now for my absolute favorite story of the day. I cannot tell you how long I've been waiting for this to happen. Usagi Yojimbo, the brilliant comic by Stan Sakai, is finally getting optioned for an animated series. Now, this is coming off the heels of Usagi appearing in the latest Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles iteration. He was featured in one episode, and that was kind of by the books for Usagi. He's been in a bunch of Turtles cartoon shows. He was in a Turtles cartoon show in the 80s.
Now who will challenge me?
And he was in the 2000X Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles show as well.
Up for some sparring?
Stan Sakai has been writing and creating Usagi Yojimbo for over 20 years, and he is a master at storytelling and a beautiful artist. If you haven't read new Usagi Yojimbo, go check it out. You won't be disappointed. For me, it's just the idea that this man, Stan Sakai, has a passion project that he has dedicated his life to, and it's never really blown up to be extraordinarily huge like the Ninja Turtles has. He's always just been on the cusp. This is actually the third time Usagi has tried to make a solo screen debut. The first time, he was going to release a show and he actually filmed a pilot. Usagi was voiced by the famous Jim Cummins, known for a few other roles. And the show was ultimately not picked up because of the failure of the cartoon show Bucky O'Hare. The toy companies, who at that time backed all the shows, felt like another TV show based off of a rabbit was just too risky at that time.
It is a storm of a different kind that fills the sky now, Counselor Hodo.
And then he later teamed up with Muppets creator Jim Henson to create a movie for Usagi, and that fell through because Jim Henson's production company went bankrupt. So he's always almost been able to do it, and yet just always fallen short of getting Usagi his own series on the silver screen. So I really hope this is the time when it will all happen for him because I love the property and I love that man. The new audio series that Marvel's producing in the vein of Serial, Wolverine the Long Night, is a murder mystery that sounds super intense. Today they dropped the first trailer, which you can find the link to in the description below, and it sounds awesome. I never listened to Serial, but I know a lot of people who love that and other types of audio murder mystery. But I'm actually really excited about this Wolverine murder mystery? This Wolverine murder mystery. So I really want to hear from you guys. Go listen to the trailer and let me know down below in the comments what you think. Is this something you're excited for or something that you literally couldn't care less about? And in video game news, the popular game DayZ has been announced to come out for Xbox One this year. Now, I say popular, but DayZ was popular like 3 years ago, which now probably the most popular equivalent of DayZ would be PUBG. So I don't know if anyone's excited about it, but it did get announced. Also, yesterday, Shadow of the Colossus remake re-released on the PlayStation 4, and it is getting rave reviews. Now for the final and most depressing story of the day. That's right, I like to leave you guys on a really depressing note. Best Buy has officially announced that they are gonna stop selling CDs. Man, I guess the era of CDs is actually coming to an end. It just reminds me that if you were born in the 80s or 90s, you're actually pretty old now. And that, my friends, is your nerd news for February the 7th, 2018. Now, I would love to hear your feedback and opinions on some of these stories we talked about, whether or not you're excited about some of this stuff, you're angry about some of this stuff, or you're just happy to be in the know. As always, if you haven't done it already, hit that like button and that subscribe button so that you can catch nerd news every day. And speaking of which, don't forget that tomorrow morning around 7:15 a.m., you can catch Nerd News live. That's right, before you go to work, you can catch Nerd News so that you can be up on all the cool topics to talk about around the water cooler. I don't know if anyone works with the water cooler anymore. I've literally never worked in an office that had a water cooler. So, roll the outro. Oh, there's no outro. I forgot. We have no budget.